My wife told me. It's a top-secret girls' trip. You can't know where we're going. I called one of her friends and learned she never left town. She was spending time with an old acquaintance. So, I filed for divorce, shut off her access to money, and now she's in a tiny apartment by herself. I'm 34, and until a few months ago, I thought I knew exactly what trust meant in a marriage. My wife and I had been together long enough to weather our share of highs and lows, but nothing that made me doubt her faithfulness. We weren't flawless, but I believed we were stable. That certainty began to crumble the day she told me she was heading off on a girls' getaway. It was a quiet Sunday night when she brought it up. No lead-in, no earlier hints, just casually mentioned it while folding laundry. She said she and her friends had been planning it for weeks, a little escape to relax and recharge. I didn't object. In fact, I've always believed that occasional time apart can be healthy. Everyone needs their own space. I told her I hoped she'd enjoy herself and even offered to help her pack. The only thing I asked, almost as an afterthought, was if she'd share her location with me. Not because I wanted to track her every step, but simply for safety's sake. If anything happened, at least I'd know where she was. That's when she paused. She didn't meet my eyes, just kept fidgeting with a shirt before saying, "I can't do that." "Why not?" I asked, honestly puzzled. She hesitated again, then explained. "We all agreed it's a secret. None of us are telling anyone where we're going. That's part of the fun." She gave a nervous laugh, as if trying to make it sound harmless. I sat there, turning her words over in my head. A group of adult women, deliberately hiding their destination from everyone, including their own families, felt odd. Even for safety's sake, it didn't sit right. I pressed gently, but she shook her head. "It's not a big deal. Please don't make it one." I let it go, maybe my first mistake. I told myself not to dwell on it. People have their quirks. Maybe it was some strange bonding ritual they'd come up with. Still, the way she avoided eye contact lit a quiet alarm in my mind. Over the next few days she seemed lighter, almost giddy, but not in the usual pre-vacation way. It was more like she was holding on to a private joke. She bought new outfits, spent extra time on her appearance, and kept her phone close. I chalked it up to trip excitement, but the knot in my stomach stayed. The morning she left, I carried her suitcase to the car. She kissed me quickly, thanked me for being cool about it, and drove away. I stood watching her tail lights disappear and, for the first time in years, I wasn't completely certain about us. That day, I buried myself in chores, convincing myself my suspicions were baseless. But somewhere deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I had no idea this so-called girls' trip would end our marriage. 2 days into her vacation, I couldn't shake the feeling something was off. She sent short texts. "Hey, having fun, talk later." But no photos, no details, no little stories about what they were doing. That wasn't like her. Normally, she'd send pictures of every meal, every laugh, every sunset. This time, nothing but silence between brief check-ins. I told myself not to read too much into it. People unplug when they're away. But by day 3, my gut was screaming at me to dig deeper. That afternoon, I called one of her closest friends, the same one she said was with her. She answered quickly. "Hey, what's up?" "Hey," I said, keeping my tone casual. "Just wondering how the trip's going. How's everyone?" There was a pause. "Trip? What trip?" My stomach dropped. "The girls' vacation. You're on it, right?" Her voice shifted, more guarded now. "I'm at home. I don't know anything about a girls' trip." Did she say I was with her? The air around me felt heavier. "Yeah, she mentioned you were going." "I'm sorry, but I'm not." If she's saying I am, something's weird here. I forced a laugh, thanked her, and hung up before she could ask more. My hands were cold, my mind racing. I called my wife straight to voicemail. Tried again, same result. Texted her. "Call me now." No reply. An hour later my phone rang. Her name lit up the screen. "Hey," she said brightly, as if nothing was wrong. "Where are you?" Asked voice low. "I told you, I'm on the trip." That's funny, I said, because I just talked to Sarah and she's home. She says she's not on any girls' trip. Silence. Faint background noise. Then she snapped. Why would you call her? Don't you trust me? This isn't about trust, I replied evenly. You told me you were somewhere with someone who says she isn't there. That's not a misunderstanding, that's a lie. She got defensive fast. You're overreacting. I can't believe you went behind my back. If you want me to believe you, I said, turn on your camera right now. Let's video chat. If everything's fine, this ends here. Her voice tightened, the sound of someone cornered. I can't right now. It's not a good time. Make the time, I said. She fumbled for excuses. I knew then the truth wouldn't be something I liked. Here's the deal, I told her. If you don't turn on your camera, I'll assume the worst. And if I assume the worst, we're done. Her breathing grew shallow. Finally, she said quietly, okay, I'm with someone, an old friend, but it's not what you think. Nothing happened. I stayed silent, not because I believed her, but because I was letting it sink in. You lied, I said softly. You made up a girl's trip, dragged other people's names into it, hid where you were. And now you expect me to believe this is innocent. She started talking faster, trying to justify it. It's not like that. We've known each other for years. I didn't think you'd understand. I almost laughed. You think vanishing for days, lying about who you're with, and refusing a video call isn't a big deal? She deflected. Why would you call Sarah? That's crossing a line. You should have trusted me. You lost the right to talk about trust when you lied. Her voice cracked. Please don't do this. I don't want to lose everything over a misunderstanding. Then explain it. Give me one reason to believe you. She had nothing, just a long pause and, it's not what you think. I told her I'd be calling her mother. That rattled her. No, don't involve them, she said quickly. But I'd already decided. When her mother answered, I laid out the entire situation. No yelling, no exaggerations. Her mom instantly denied it. That doesn't sound like her. You must be mistaken. Her sister chimed in, telling me not to throw away my marriage over one confusing situation. But I knew the difference between confusion and a string of deliberate lies. This wasn't an accident. It was a choice she made repeatedly. I ended the call knowing what I had to do. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. The next morning, I called a lawyer to start divorce proceedings. No big scenes, no drawn-out arguments. Just a clean break from someone who proved she couldn't be trusted. I closed our joint accounts, removed her from my cards, changed all my passwords. Within 2 days, she had zero access to my finances. When she came home, she tried to act like we could talk it out, wide-eyed pleading, claiming she'd made a mistake. You lost me the moment you lied, I told her. You had every chance to be honest, and you chose not to. She cried, saying she didn't think I'd react like this, that she thought she could keep it from me. So it wasn't about doing the right thing, it was about not getting caught, I said. She stayed silent. In the weeks after, she moved out. Her family stopped contacting me. I later heard she was renting a small apartment on the edge of town. She sent texts about how lonely she was, how she wished she could undo it all. I didn't reply. The trust was beyond repair. Betrayal changes the way you see someone forever. Even if I forgave her, every trip, every late night, every unanswered call would be suspect. That's no way to live. Months later, she sent a message. I hate myself for what I did. I didn't answer, not to punish her, but because her guilt wasn't mine to carry anymore. Now my life is quieter. No second-guessing where my partner is. No pretending things are fine when they aren't. This wasn't a victory. It was a necessary loss. I'd rather be alone and at peace than with someone who can look me in the eye and lie without hesitation.